Shelby Sapp is currently bringing in $5 million a month, not a year, a month. And it's not luck, it's not a viral fluke, it's a system. And today we're going to be breaking down those systems within this marrow board. So whether you're brand new to growth marketing or you're a coach yourself, stick with me because this is what most people skip. First thing on the board here we have is knowledge of ICP, also known as ideal customer profile. And this is what most coaches skip or people fake entirely. Whereas Shelby doesn't. And as you can see here, Shelby has expert knowledge, not surface level knowledge, expert knowledge. And she has this across 3 specific dimensions. She knows A, exactly who she's talking to. She knows B, what their dreams, goals, and aspirations are. And C, and arguably the most important, their pain points. And here's why this is so important. If you do not know who you are talking to, then you're effectively throwing a message in a bottle and hoping for the best. Once you actually know your audience dreams and you know their pain points, then you can do one of 2 things with every piece of content, which is number 1, bringing them close to the life that they dream of, and number 2, pulling them away from the life that they're currently in. And that's the filter Shelby runs everything through. Now let's move over to the content ecosystem, in which Shelby goes from a method of going from short form content to long form content to eventually get you on the webinar. As we've highlighted here, all content points towards the evergreen webinars that are presented as live events. Now, what an evergreen webinar is a webinar that is presented as live, but is not actually live. It's pre-recorded. It's still, like I said, presented as live. She speaks to the audience as if the evergreen webinar is a live event, but it's actually not. It can be around at the same point every week, maybe bi-weekly or even once a month. That's what an evergreen webinar is. Now, I've separated the content forms into top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So let's start off over here with top of funnel content. Now, top of funnel content, what is it? Well, this is the content that brings cold eyeballs into her world without her ever having to sell a pitch. The 3 pillars of her top of funnel content, as here we've got lifestyle content, identity content, and community. Okay. Now, examples of this non-sales related content, for example, this vlog here with Iman Gadzi, which basically shows authenticity on her behalf, shows she's a normal person, normal girl, a likable character. It increases reliability, shows she's not just a sales robot who only cares about money, like I said, increases authenticity. And this is in the form of vlogs here. Another form of top funnel content that she's done on her Instagram is these morning routines. Once again, shows authenticity, like I said here, and also portrays the dream life. It's something for the ICP, which is women, younger women in her case, something that they aspire to reach. Okay. Whereas top of funnel content is about getting complete strangers to know you, middle of funnel content works to do something completely different, and that is consideration. Middle of funnel content works to bridge the gap between a person saying, okay, I've recognized this person before, to I'm ready to buy from this person. That's a complete different change in awareness levels and recognition levels of you as that coach. And to understand why that matters, then you need to understand this graphic mechanism over here. The 5 stages of customer awareness. Every single person watching this video without them knowing is somewhere on this ladder. Stage 1, unaware, they might not even know that they have a problem. Stage 2, okay, they're now aware of that problem. Stage 3, they're aware that there is a solution to their problem, but they don't know what specific product is the solution. Stage 4, they are now aware of the product that is the solution to their problem. And stage 5, most aware, they're completely aware of the product that can be the solution to their problem that they now know they've got. So that's a bit more of like a longer way to describe it. Obviously, you can just look at the titles and kind of get a gauge for it, but that's when you put it like that, when you map it out, that's one way to see it. Now, as you can see here, I've put below consideration stage because this is the stage that Shelby Sapp's middle of funnel content seeks to target. It is laser focused at the consideration stage here, because Shelby understands that the people who she's targeting know that there is a solution to the problem, they just don't know the who. So effectively, Shelby doesn't want to spend all this money and produce all this content basically explaining to people that there's a solution and that sales is great for them. She just wants to position to people who know there's a problem, just don't know the who, and this is where she can be the solution to that problem. In simple terms, Shelby wants to position as the person who will help you to get over that wall rather than show you that there's a wall in the way in the first place. Stage 3 is literally the definition of sitting on the board. Shelby does not want to convince people that there is a solution. She wants to position herself as the solution. Now let's move up here and see what that content actually looks like in practice. What does it look like when it pops up on your feed? Now here we've got an Instagram reel where it says, Shelby Sapp gives us a sales masterclass. She literally gives you value, but within the Instagram reel, she keeps it short enough to make you want more, and eventually, hence why I've done this arrow here, push you along to the longer form content. Like I've said here, it gives value and makes you feel like you've learned something, but keeps it short enough to encourage you to move to the YouTube. Now when you eventually move to the YouTube and you want to learn more, she's posted one video on how to sell everything, which is 2 hours long. Now this is just pure sales education. It expresses her knowledge and gives value once more. It builds trust and improves position. Now improving position is the most important thing in this info product space with the amount of coaches. If you can position yourself as the exact expert in the space and you can build the most trust with the people watching and the audience, you are most likely to sell them on your product. Now you may be thinking, why on earth is she making videos that are longer than most movies? Well, it's because of the 7 hours of sales rule, which is the idea that a person needs to interact with at least 7 hours of content before they are considered ready to buy from you. 7 hours of content before they trust you, before they find you authentic and an expert. 7 hours of quality content as well, let's say there. And obviously it's not 7 hours on the dot. There's plenty of people who have bought with an hour of content. There's plenty of people who took a lot longer than 7 hours to buy from a coach. It really just depends on the quality of content, the style of content, and where they are on the customer awareness level, like we spoke about over here. Now, of course, it will vary. Some people will be able to be sold on 2 hours of content, whereas it may take some people a lot longer, maybe 10 hours of content. But that can all vary depending on whereabouts you are on the customer awareness ladder. Okay. So that's middle of funnel content. The short form hooks you in, the long form builds trust and positioning, and the 7 hours of sales rule is always working in the background the entire time without you knowing. Just before we move to bottom of funnel content, we're also going to take a look at paid ads that Shelby Sapp uses. Now here's where things get interesting, because organic content builds trust and positioning, whereas paid ads helps you to scale. Now in the first bucket we have direct response ads, and straight away you can tell she's not messing around, because as we've got here, she is currently running over 300 ads, not 30 ads, 300 ads. And she uses bold claims within her ads, such as you only need 2 hours a day plus a phone. She also says do not start your own business in her most productive ad. The reason she does things like this is because they are complete and utter scroll stoppers, because they completely shift your beliefs, and they will be targeted to her ICP, young women who aspire to have this sort of lifestyle where they're only on the phone 2 hours a day for work, the rest of it they're chilling out, they're living that dream lifestyle in Miami on the beach, whatever it may be. That's why she makes bold claims like these, because she knows the type of people that will be reacting to her ads. She mentions things like you only need 2 hours a day plus a phone. Why did she say things like this? Well, because her ICP, which is young women, this will be the absolute dream for them. Only doing 2 hours of work a day on the phone, spending the rest of the day on a beach in Miami. You know, that really targets her ICP. And then she also makes extremely bold statements such as do not start your own business. Now these two things that she said here are complete and utter scroll stoppers. And why does she use pattern interrupts like this? Well, for that exact reason, because it's a pattern interrupt. Why on earth would a business owner say do not start your own business? It makes you stop and it makes you question why. Now that's textbook direct response marketing. Bold claim, pattern interrupt, curiosity gap, all built to get that click. But the fun does not stop there, because once you have clicked, once you've signed up and registered, you then get hit with the second bucket of ads, which is hammer them ads. These are ads targeted specifically to webinar registrants with the purpose of further nurturing and warming up leads. You begin to receive these after signing up. And what these are built to do is give further nurture content to warm registrants up with more value ready for the webinar. Remember before when we talked about the 7 hours of sales rule? It's effectively to give more content, to warm up, to position itself as a better expert, to further nurture the lead, and to basically get them excited and ready for in which case this is evergreen webinar at the same time. It's extremely smart. It's heavily marketed by Jeremy Haynes. And yeah, just because you really want to, and it's because you really want to make sure people who are arriving on the call are pretty much ready to buy, ready to be sold. And that is the best case scenario, to have people turning up to your live event ready to buy. So the final bottom stage of the funnel, bottom of funnel content. Now, you've got someone who's now aware of you, who's now seeing you've got the solution to their problem, and what tips them over the edge? Well, it's proof. Now, if you look here at the very first clip, which we're not going to show the video, but if you want to watch it, it is on a TikTok. It's bartender made 62K in 1 month with no experience. Now, what you notice about this, she gives a real figure, saying someone has no experience and it's already happened. So this isn't showing that it's possible for you. This is showing that someone in your case has already done it. So it's also creating that sense of agency, what's needed to give you the kick up the ass to go and buy the information product, or in this case, join her community. So examples of bottom of funnel content. Well, testimonials, social proof. This raises conversion rates. Additionally, on her academy page, she has many more client testimonials, which show what's possible, creating a sense of agency and increasing relatability. Now, if you go on a She Sells page, these are some of the testimonials you'll be met with. Grayson is making money beyond the industry 9 to 5 average. She's a fitness remote high ticket offer. Hot girl closer. So another example of her ICP. I've worked with a one-on-one, building the pain points of their clients and connecting others to smooth over the closing section. She's also now one of our coaches. So she's gone from being completely unaware to now coach as She Sells. And yeah, then we can move on to Cecilia. I set a record on the first day of my sales job. I'm so thankful for the decision I made. Basically, a lot of bottom funnel content is just showing happy clients after purchasing the product, really showing off that what you're teaching is genuinely helping people. And this is really what people need, because a lot of people who, although they may trust you, they still might be a little bit hesitant to buy, especially with most of the time it being a 4-figure plus investment. So to see other people in your situation, for example, if you're a bartender and you've seen this, I think you are pretty much completely sold on this situation. So it's seeing little bits of content like this that can actually tip you over the edge and give you that final push you need in Shelby Sapp's favor to make you purchase from her. And now, in terms of the landing page and the webinar itself, let's get into a few different elements here. So all her content leads to her landing page. Now, here's a landing page. She advertises the first in line for the female sales community. And here it says, change your life to sales. This is the empowering community of women you've been looking for. Notice how specific she is on her ICP once more here. Women. She does not say anything about men. She's effectively showing who she wants and who she does not want in that community. She is filtering out, like we spoke about before, all men from this landing page. Now, if you press join the waitlist, you will then go to a free gift for you page, which is a step-by-step guide on a mindset shift she's had to go through from being a shy high school girl who had never imagined a career in sales to the confident woman that you see today. So you can put your first name in here and your email address, in which the second you'll put your email address in, you will then be filtered into a marketing email sequence straight away. Like I've just put here, the landing page is congruent with the ICP. The copy of the landing page is so important, as it can show you that the product is or isn't for you. In this case, it's not for men and it is for women. I'm not too sure why I just wrote that out. Now, the webinar itself, let's finish off by looking into this. Pre and post email sequences. Well, why do we do post email sequences in the first place? Why does Shelby do them so heavily? Well, because the fact of the matter is, typically 40% of sales are made after the live webinar. Typically 40% of sales are made from scooping the people who've been on the webinar, have been given value, but just need a bit of extra nurturing, whether that be fear of missing out content, whether that be creating a sense of agency, or whether that just be given some more value and showing student testimonials for being in the community of what they've done and where they are now effectively. Now, prior to the webinar, what type of emails did we get? Straight away after confirming our spot and after registering for the webinar, we got hit with this from Shelby herself. You really did that. You just secured your spot, and if we just go over, people out here wishing for a different life, whereas you've actually took the initiative to do something about it. In other words, so here's everything you need to know. She gave us the date and she gave us the time, as well as the link for the webinar. Then on the day of the webinar, so this was the day prior that I signed up, here's the one on the actual day of it. Now, if you don't know, Shelby Sapp runs the Evergreen webinar once a week, on Tuesday nights, I believe, at 8 p.m. Just basically says, today's the day everything changes, you're officially on the list. For the masterclass tonight, I'm going to show you how remote sales game actually works. The one nobody's teaching you, but every ambitious girl needs. Here's all your important details. Once again, gives the date, the time, and the link. And then she talks down here what she will be getting into, to give you a bit more of an idea of what you can expect on the call, to make people feel like they're not just lost in this maze when they join the call. No, if they want to, they can go ahead and look into some of the things she's going to be talking about on the call. Then on the next email, she goes into some objection handling. She handles objections such as, what if I'm not cut out for this? I've never done anything like this before, and is this really worth showing up for? Then she then answers those questions, which I'm sure she will end up answering again on the webinar, which is a really tactical thing to do. Pre-plan some questions, so at the end of the webinar, when you can do a Q&A, you already have the answers ready to the most commonly asked questions, and that can really help to get some more people over the line to purchase from you. Next, countdown, just some agency, 60 minutes away, classic, really basic. And then a different tactic she used, she's actually got Shelby's assistant to send an email out, which is, I wasn't going to email you, but Shelby just revealed something, and the entire chat went like that. This is actually during the webinar. This is triggered when you do not join the webinar within 5 minutes. But yeah, it's basically to scoop you up and to get you back on that webinar, basically hit you with this fear of missing out, that if you're not in this, you're missing out on a lot of content that can move you closer to the life that you aspire to have. Then after that one, if you completely missed the webinar, where were you? You just missed the hottest masterclass in the history of remote closing. Yeah, mind-blowing secrets, life-changing strategies, all this, I don't need to read it all out. You get the idea. And he just tries to, this fear of missing out content, life-changing magic of remote closing, and what they went deep into. Okay. And it's really targeted. I mean, the email messaging is really specific, and congruent to the ICP, like I've kind of spoke a lot about in this video. It's really to make you feel like you should not have missed this webinar, to feel like what she's got is perfect for your situation. And she really cares. If you notice, she's with a stressing me out, a lot of exclamation marks, a lot of emojis. It may seem like little things, but because of how informal it is, it really makes it feel like it is tailored to you, okay? Next, moving on. Just some more. Then some more emails from multiple CEOs wrote about her. Jules, I need to show you something. One of my students posted this week. So this is more student testimonials. I just received the same compliment for the third time in response to my lean video. People are saying they're impressed and want to talk to me directly instead of doing group interviews. Okay. More student testimonials, more examples of Shelby's teachings working for people. Yeah. Okay. Now, just to talk about the points of improvement. I made a little note up here. One thing I do is setters and dialers calling me to excite or entice you about the call. It's okay to be doing this through email sequences, and don't get me wrong, it's very valuable. But because of how much she's making a month, I would actually expect her to have the budget to be able to have people dialing and closing me the second I sign up, or at least on the day of the call, just to make sure I'm definitely attending, and maybe even some SMS messages, because I didn't get any from there. So that's my only point of improvement there. But who cares, because at the end of the day, she is making $5 million per month currently. I hope through this video you've got a much better understanding, even if you're brand new to growth operating, as to how she's using this webinar funnel, this evergreen webinar funnel, to make $5 million a month. So if you like this style of content, if you've learned something, let me know. If you've got